The world news at 12 begins with Onjage Wado, a former deputy governor of Nasarawa State who was kidnapped last Thursday night, regaining his freedom after paying 4 million naira as ransom. You will recall the professor of law was kidnapped in his country home, Rinza, near Wamba, the headquarters of Wamba local government area. His kidnappers placed a ransom of about 70 million naira, but the family bargained from 2 million naira to 3.5 million naira and finally negotiated close to 4 million naira before he was released. VOP News gathered Giewado was taken back to the palace of the paramount ruler of Wamba, Ori Erindre, Justice Lawal Musa Nagogo, after his release. In response to this development, Barrister Tony Nnadi, in a brief interview with our senior correspondent Esther Nwachiku, had this to say.
Governor of Nasarawa State, who was kidnapped last week, has gained his freedom. He paid the sum of 4 million naira. 4 million naira was paid, although the initial negotiation from the those who kidnapped him was about 70 million naira, but the family was able to negotiate to 4 million naira. This man was kidnapped, I think, on Thursday, Friday, and by now he has regained his freedom. But we've had incessant attacks, consistent attacks in Benue State, in Utukpo, in Agatu, some local governments there. In the past 3 weeks, about 400 persons have died by herdsmen coming into the community to kill, to pillage. And then we've also heard the scenario whereby the last time they went into the IDP camps to kill mercilessly. We have not heard an expedited action from the Nigerian security to see how they can draft some personnel there to see how they can flush out the headers from that area. The president commented through his spokesperson that something should be done as soon as possible. But one would say, just like how the ex-deputy governor of Nasarawa State has regained his freedom, why are we not seeing that immediacy in tackling the headers clash going on in Benue State?
It's a pity, and I blame the media for joining in the conspiracy to present terror as banditry. You
blame the media?
I blame the media for in fact leading the conspiracy, for reporting, pure terror as banditry, because that was what the government wanted. And any search for solution to these killings and terror that does not go back to its source that is known to all of us, but which we pretend we do not know. That source being Muhammadu Buhari and the Fulani invasion and conquest agenda. Again, back to the media. What have we not done to tell everybody that there's a Fulani agenda in which the Fulani are being brought from all over the sub-region into Nigeria to kill off the owners of the land and take the land? That is what is going on in Benue. Buhari is their champion. El-Rufai was the contact person that told us he went to 16 countries to give them money.
Barrister, what fact do you have to say? What fact do you have to say that President Muhammadu Buhari is a champion? What fact exactly? We have to be careful when we make these utterances.
Was Buhari not the spokesman of Boko Haram all the while he was contesting elections? Was there not an occasion Buhari went to Oyo Governor Lamadeshina complaining about what he described as the pushback from Oyo people to the herdsmen who were free to move all over the country. He was their champion all through and through. Was he not the one that said that an attack on Boko Haram was an attack on the north at the time he was still candidate, when the Ejika was Chief of Army Staff, trying to fight them back where they were? Was he not the one they nominated to speak for them when Jonathan was put under such pressure as now offering some kind of discussion that should have taken place in Saudi Arabia? Is Buhari not still the life grand patron of Mieti Allah?
President Muhammadu Buhari has his own cattle ranching business. Doesn't necessarily mean he has his own cattle ranching business. That is his own personal business. But that doesn't necessarily factorize.
Are you not aware? That's why I blame the media. Are you not aware that Buhari is a life grand patron of Mietiala? At the time Mietiala is taking responsibility very proudly for the killings being done by Fulani herdsmen. Has he stepped back from them? Are you not aware that Buhari took money from the treasury, 100 billion, which was shown on national TV, and handed over to Mietiala at the peak of the killings from Fulani herdsmen that have been described by the Global Terror Index as the fourth most deadly terror group? So the same Buhari, who is involved with Boko Haram, is also involved with Fulani herdsmen. Are you not aware that we went? Are you not aware that you went to the international arena? I was in Congress in Capitol Hill, addressing the committees that were asking what's going on in Nigeria, and we presented evidence of the involvement of Buhari in these things that are.
Barrister, when was this? When was the time?
2019. The videos are all over the place. The pictures are all over the place. The documents that we presented are all over the place. The only people that do not want to touch it are the media in Nigeria.
So
the only people who do not want to touch it are the media in Nigeria.
Barrister,
are you aware? Are you aware that when the US put Nigeria on the special watch list for the ethno-religious killings happening, are you not aware that it was on account of our 7-month engagement with them in Washington? What has the Nigerian media done with all of those? That the US government will be concerned enough to invite those who could tell them what's going on.
Barrister, that is what we're doing now. We're talking about the situation, but we need to remain with facts. You do know that we're regulated.
It's being presented from a perspective that leaves a question mark on the head of the media. Why are we talking about deputy governor that was rescued as if we do not know what is going on in Benue? Fulani is overrunning the place. They have used the election. We told everybody, let us avoid this election. The constitution that is operating was imposed by this Fulani to tie the rest of people down so that they can beat them down and take their land.
But Barrister, during the elections, we did not record any of all these upheavals. This whole situation is resurging after the elections.
Does that not tell you that there's a control somewhere? Does that not tell you that the people who wanted to drag you to election and who have succeeded in distracting you with election have now reinforced and they've resumed what they're doing? What have they done with that election? That constitution that empowered them is their principal target to resuscitate. A constitution we have defeated. Those who are being killed under that constitution are the same ones who insisted on going to election under that constitution. The only salvation available to us, and we can decide to ignore it until the killings come to our doorstep. The only salvation available to us right now is that we leave everything else, including mandate of election, both the stolen mandate and the legitimate mandate that is being pursued. Both of them have to be sacrificed now to take down that constitution.
Sacrificed in what context, Barrister?
The sacrifice is that some people will want to see their candidates who have been declared.
Yes.
Go to government house. Others are saying no. Our candidate won the election, and we want to recover the mandate. Both of them are the victims of this Fulani agenda that is being empowered by that constitution. None of you can touch a rifle, can touch a gun. The Fulani people are wearing uniform, controlling the army, the police, the GSS, the immigration, all the agencies that carry arms. Tell me anyone that is not under their control in your village, up to your community, across the country. It is that constitution that made it so. Again, they are the owners of your economic assets on account of that constitution that confiscates all the assets, whether it is the oil and gas of Niger Delta, or the port of Lagos, or the bitumen of Ondo, or the limestone of Benue. All of those things are taken over by the fraud of a constitution. And in taking it over, they've now handed it over to private citizens. Dangote is controlling half of the port in Lagos, concession. How did we come to the concession? The exclusive list on the constitution makes all those assets property of the federal government. What is the federal government in the context of a federation that collapsed in 1966? There's no federal government anywhere. It is a fraud operated by the Fulani and aided by renegade elements from the rest of the country, including the one that has now won the election. And so the rest of us were in that danger because the Fulani will not stop anywhere. I don't know the part of the country you are from, but I can assure you that what is going on in Benue now is less than 20 kilometers from Enugu. That's Enugu State. I'm sure you heard about incidences in Hamufu and in Enugu Ezike. These are the parts of Enugu State bordering Benue. Now, Autumn, we sat down with Autumn and explained this same thing I'm telling you now. I led the mission on behalf of our group, on behalf of Ninas, to go to sit down with Autumn and mandate him to take steps. The constitution that was imposed, which we have defeated it because of the fact that it is getting its life. It is sustained by the pretext that we made it. The life of that constitution is sustained only on account of that false claim that you and I submitted ourselves into the union and therefore wrote and enacted the constitution that empower the people that impose that constitution. So it's a lie. And so that lie is the reason they are in control of all of the length and breadth of Nigeria.
So Barrister, you're literally saying right now that there is a plan or a strategy by a certain ethnic group to overshadow all other ethnic groups.
If you are not prepared to call it the Fulani it is, then you have to go and tell those who called Fulani headsmen, the Fulani headsmen they call them. Why did they not call them Ijo headsmen or Yoruba headsmen? They are Fulani people. And they are doing what they are doing because they are Fulani. Some people thought it's a jihad. Oh, Muslim and Christian fighting. No. Why are they killing the Muslims in Zamfara and Kebbi and Katsina?
Nasarawa too.
They're everywhere. So if you are not Fulani, you are dead. And what are they after? Your land. If we continue to dance around that matter and try to be politically correct, we may think we are very far from where they are. But when they turn up at our doorstep, that truth will emerge, but maybe in the midst of a pool of blood. The media in Nigeria, I'm sorry for them because eventually it will be brought to light what they did to cooperate with this evil to grow. And we said, let's not go to election that will reinforce this damnation. They all joined in full force to make sure we went to election. What is the outcome of that election now? That constitution is still standing. Because the reason we say let's not go to election, we said let us demonstrate our rejection of that master servant constitution. Worse than apartheid. Worse than apartheid. Let us demonstrate our rejection by refusing to go to a further national election under it. Everybody decided to do the opposite. Because they were hoping that one P2B will emerge and all will be well. The same P2B, which is why that mandate will be sacrificed. That mandate will be we won the election, no dispute at all. We were the first to say when he emerged as candidate that he was going to get more votes than all the other parties put together. But that he will not get to government house on account of the constitution that centralized every control. Why did February 25 go the way it went? It is because there is an INEC sitting in Abuja, printing PVC for everybody, countrywide. In a federation, there's an INEC sitting in Abuja, making out DVAs for everybody. So your own could work and the other person's own will not work. There's an INEC organizing logistics in which your materials for voting will arrive at 3 p.m. whereas the places in the war zone, their own will arrive at 7 a.m. of the same day. By the time you put all of it together, the security, you saw MC Oluomo threatening people with death, and policemen standing with him, and police commissioner coming out to say, oh, you see, he was just joking. Now look at this fellow in Ajawa State that says, if these things continue, if these attacks will not continue, we will have to bring our own boys to come to defend us. Immediately he was carried away